we are live with pre-show memes. Hello, world.
Hello. I have opinions.
Oh boy, opinions.
You could be wrong. That's okay.
Oh.
Yeah, you know. It's okay to be wrong, Ari. It's fine.
Hey, I'm the one that introduced y'all to Umineko, okay?
It's okay to be wrong.
No, you didn't.
Well, except you. And you know.
Fucking spreading lies yet again.
Damn.
Like a real
Hey,
witch.
you can be a lot of different things, okay? But I wouldn't expect a Canadian to know that.
Damn.
Especially a fake one.
Wow. Shots are fired tonight.
Fight.
This is what war truly is. This is
Well, some of this is the only way we know how. Playing Golden Fantasia, clearly.
Oh my god, we should play Golden Fantasia today.
See, I can't tell if you're joking or not.
Who knows? We'll see my mood in 2 hours.
I mean, I'm down. I'm down to clown. I've been played since December, but you know.
No, you're too good. We're gonna
Yeah,
ban
I'm too
Ava.
good. Well, you did ban Ava, but I still won. Everyone. I don't think you're seeing the problem here.
Shadow just rolling up. Like, I've never played a fighting game before, but I studied it all this week. You gotta do a quarter circle backwards with this thing and this thing. Like, Jesus. Jesus.
The game gives you inputs when you pause the game. I don't know what to tell you.
Let's see here.
I think you just figured it out.
You just gotta read the fucking text.
That's a lot of reading. That's like effort. I just want to play Tekken, okay? I don't have to do too much complicated things to get Tekken to work for me. I don't know. Okay, so this is working. Where is my link for the stream? Here it is. You're all gonna get frickin' pinged in the server once I correct the URL
And you can get pinged too if you join the server.
at discord.wolfborg.com. Yes, this is true. You should do that.
If you're into that, I'm not sure why you.
No. They will join. There is a gun to their head. This is war. Okay, this is what it's like. So.
Beauty has a
So
gun.
violent today.
Hey, I mean, listen. The rations, we need them. That's just how it
They've
goes.
all been Americanized. I don't know what to tell you.
Godspeed. My name is Jim Godspeed, okay?
God, I'm such a fake shonen fan. I was like, what the hell are you talking about, Brian?
What, you know about Jim?
Well, at first I thought he was trying to say Mashal.
No,
Very different. Yeah.
Very different.
Very different.
Also, Meshul is good.
Damn.
I read all 3 volumes, and it's wonderful.
I should get back to Mashal at some point.
Read?
He did,
Ari,
all on his own.
I have an entire drawer of just manga, you know.
It is surprising, but he does.
It.
He's read Mashal and Chainsaw Man all on his own.
Oof, I'm sorry.
Chainsaw Man's good, bruh. I haven't read the newest chapters in a while, though. I need to catch up. I'm waiting for a lot of them to
I
come
don't know.
out.
I just watched the anime and thought it was mid.
Well, that's more understandable because the anime had very mixed receptions with that. The manga is always going to be.
Did it?
Yeah, it did. Yeah, it did.
I
Yeah, it
only
did.
saw people like praising the shit out of the anime.
There was also a
which is
lot of
why I
people
watched
that
it.
were highly shitting on the direction of it being too movie-like and such.
Interesting.
Yeah, there was
Taking out the Union references.
yeah. There was like a lot of fans that were just going online saying like, yeah, the anime adaptation was mid, but you know, at least we got an anime adaptation. Now everybody's hyped. Everybody all around seems hyped for the movie coming out. Do you say her name as Rez or Reze? I don't know. I don't remember how you say her name. But listen, I like the Chainsaw Man anime. I feel like, because the problem with the Chainsaw Man anime was just that everybody was expecting a more style, kind of like Dandadan style with that, I guess. Like a more, traditional
to
or like
catch up.
experimental style. So,
I just didn't like the characters very much.
and that's fair. That's fair. Yeah, Chainsaw Man's not necessarily for everyone. And if you don't dig some of the characters, that's probably gonna be a whole thing.
No, I mean that's just kind of the thing. It wasn't like a terrible watch. It just was like, all right, that was fine.
Oh, but you said it's fun.
Oh,
No, I said it was fine.
Wow, changing your tune already.
true. We started book
I
club.
need to catch
If
up.
we can play the tape back.
Listen, let's roll the clip. Roll the clip. We started book club with the Tatsuki Fujimoto manga. We started with Fire Punch. That was our very first book club
Yeah.
ever.
Wait, chap, you're saying it wrong. It's Tatsuki Frogimoto.
Oh, true, Frogimoto, as we all know. Okay, that was a whole thing. We did Fire Punch, then Summertime Rendering. I think it was those two. I have them all in order in the info channel. It was Fire Punch, Summertime Rendering, then Familiar of Zero, and around there is where we had Andy and Ari joining in on the crew too. And then Mega Man X, Solos and Cage.
God help us.
A couple webtoons that Turndo recommended us. Turndo showed up in the server again the other night, to say something about there being no Discord in China, and then Happy Easter, and then disappearing again. So,
Honestly,
enjoying it.
iconic.
oh damn!
Well, hopefully he's having fun.
Oh damn! Shadow posting evidence. He's got a whole drawer full of manga.
Even everything. I
Bro.
go Fire Punch.
Bro, we got
No, it's
Spy
not-
Family in there too. Holy shit!
It's not that I'm surprised that you have manga. It's that I'm surprised that you read manga outside of book club on your own volition.
That's true.
Ari, I'm taking accounting class. I need something to keep myself sane.
That's true. Were you
Good.
reading?
Is it working?
Were you reading manga before you started watching anime in the server with us, or was this something that
no.
you kind of got more into?
That's something
Okay,
after.
okay. It's all because one day Shadow joined this server to play some Yu-Gi-Oh. He kicked my ass in
It was
Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yu-Gi-Oh.
He kicked my ass in Yu-Gi-Oh, and in
I
return,
think we still have the clip of you drawing Horror the Unicorn 3 times in a row.
we
They kept
do.
stacking
It's a
up
good
back to
clip.
back.
Because it just goes to the top of my deck every time. So the clip is just me pulling it again, and you're saying, "Oh, did you get Horn of the Unicorn?" I'm like, "Yeah, I don't fucking have anything else, so that's my turn." And then in
I have,
return,
like, 7 cards in hand.
I taught Shadow the ways of anime beyond JoJo. Okay, because at the time he was only Yu-Gi-Oh and JoJo, so I showed him Death Note, and then we went on to some others from there. Okay.
Of course, they hit anime Dorohedoro. Went to watch
I mean,
that.
really, you don't need much more than Yu-Gi-Oh, but it's good to have a good palette.
Look,
I don't
Ari,
know,
Yu-Gi-Oh's committed a lot of
That's not true.
sins.
You should redo Mineko.
That too.
But not watch the anime.
Okay, let
And
me
you should watch the Yu-Gi-Oh! Zell, which is the Higurashi of Yu-Gi-Oh!
make sure I have my chats up here. Oh, Baguetti in YouTube chat. Hello, Baguetti. How's it going? And then Twitch chat. Nobody there. Okay, good. I just want to make sure I'm missing. Okay. Are we missing anybody that we know of that would be around tonight for discussions? Aztec said he's not going to be here. Andy's still busy with school stuff.
Coda definitely did not read.
I believe Iron
Hey,
said they also can't be here this week, or maybe that was
Yeah,
something.
she didn't.
No, Chef, let's pin Coda. Come on.
Yeah, you got
Got it.
Pincoda. King of the Hill. All right. We should be ready to go then, right?
Yeah.
Let's see here.
Yeah.
All right, let's get this started. If I can find the pre-show button to turn it on. Here it is. Welcome, everybody, to another exciting episode of the Anime Book Club here on YouTube, Twitch, and Kick, all at the same time. We are here starting a new series, a shorter series, an easier read, before I have to go on a couple-week vacation, and then afterwards we're going to be starting Pandora Hearts. But until then, we're here to discuss Girls' Last Tour. This week, we're discussing the first 2 volumes. So, before we get into that, let's get into our guests for this week in alphabetical order, as usual, starting with Hole Digger Shino. Introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Shino. I didn't expect to be the first, but I guess the alphabet starts with an H today. Or I guess not.
Oh, whoops, I messed it up now.
All right.
Sorry,
Oh, wow.
I'm sorry, keep going, I'm sorry. I forgot.
Yeah, so my
Incredible work,
recommendation
everyone.
for this week, I guess.
Wait, say that again, Chino. Say that again.
Oh. My recommendation for this week is a visual novel called Love Curse. It's a very nice Chinese visual novel. Girls. Yay.
Yay.
Oh yeah, I have my eye on that.
You've played, like, what, 20 hours of it this week?
VNs are meant to be bins.
I mean, are you not
Bail
supposed
for
to do
this.
Bays.
that? Wait, hold on. Is this a sin? Have I been doing this wrong?
Probably.
Yes, you will be executed.
Probably. Anything else?
Again?
Anything else, Chino?
Nope, girls.
All right, girls. Yay. All right, next up we have. Oh, somebody has gone backwards in the line. Okay, never mind. Next up is Kettenborg. That's me, Kettenborg, aka Wolfborg, aka Chaplin, aka the best book club, anime book club host you've ever known. As long as you've only seen this one, we're here again, and I am here again to once again shill for Idol Story. I have recommended this several times, but it is officially coming out in English in a few days. Go fucking get it and read it and enjoy the Idol girls. It is about an idol, a former idol, Mimi Nagisa, who has given up being an idol and has become a fan of a new idol named Ibuki, who was a huge fan of Mimi when she was an idol. And her and the other one, they connect, and they are entering into a idol reality TV show contest with like 14 other contestant girls. It's a very good series by the creator of New Game. Go read it. You may or may not see a video by me from it soon if I can actually sit down and get it all finished and written and edited. Hopefully before the release of the volume, but I make no promises about that. Go check out Idol Story. Okay, I love it. I love the series so much. All right, so next up, Lady Galaxy. Introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Anne, or Anne, whichever you prefer. My recommendation this week is I've been playing Toho Luna Nights. That's pretty good.
Ooh.
Toho?
Toho.
Tauhao. Danmaku Kagura. I understand.
The fuck you just made me?
I'm banning you for that.
You had to be there for it, okay? You had to be there for it.
I certainly did, apparently.
Toby Fox. Anyways, thank you so much for that. Anything else, Lady Galaxy?
Nope.
Okay. Next up is Please Don't Put Me First, Arimia. Introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Arimia. I like shonen shit. My recommendation this week. Apparently, I'm a fake shonen fan. I haven't been catching up with everything
Oh, damn.
because I'm too busy stuck in the past with old shonen. Because today you should go read the new chapter of Degrayman that released
Holy
today
shit.
in Japan.
Oh,
Yippee!
yippee!
Chapter 255, I think.
255 chapters of Degrowing. Damn. How many years has it been going?
Yeah. 2004, I believe.
Jesus, that was
Yep.
21
Literally
years ago.
my birthday, 2004.
Holy shit.
It was meant
That's
to be.
too long.
On your birthday. Oh, I understand. I understand now. Okay. All right. Anything else?
Go read visual novels.
Name one.
Real.
Ghostpia.
All right. Go check out Ghostpia. I think I've had that on my wish list for a while, but I haven't. Or do I have it now? I don't remember.
It's good. You
I
should
have it in my
Yeah.
library, and I was gonna read it, and then I died.
Oh, damn.
That's just
Like
what
the one-
happened in the visual novel.
Whoa! Holy shit! All right, thank you so much for that. Next up, we have Shadow Man V4. Introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Shadow. I don't have anything to recommend this week.
Based, I loved your delivery on that. He's showing us a drawer full of manga he has. Doesn't want to talk about any of them. Based,
I
understandable.
mean, why the fuck would I?
I don't know. Maybe you liked Mashal. Want to tell people to read
That was
Mashal.
good.
I don't know. I mean, you can say fuck Mashal if you want. You're allowed. I don't.
That
You
being
have one
What kind of
correct.
bar.
monster
You
would
can-
enjoy media?
Hey, you can give an anti-recommendation if you want. If you really didn't like Spy Family.
Fucking hate you, Chip. You know that?
I'm just saying. Listen.
You know, I would
Just
give you an anti-recommend. I'll give you an anti-recommendation. Don't read Mega Man X. It
Oh.
was bad.
Oh damn. Well, it's kind of too late for us. But
Yeah, you could watch our VOD though.
Yeah.
Of us, bemoaning it.
yes, actually,
You're
that's
right,
what you
I'll
should
go
do
read
instead.
it.
Yeah. Oh no. All right. Well, thank you so much for
I'll
all
go
that.
read it so I do the homework.
Oh, true. Yeah.
Yeah, before we get to X2, yeah, of course.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, we gotta get ready for
Eventually.
that. Yeah, that'll be on the next poll. That's what we're all voting for. Thank you so much, everybody.
It's too short, Chip. You fucking idiot.
Don't worry about it, okay? Thank you so much, everybody, for showing up once again. We are discussing a new series, Girls Last Tour. I forget, who recommended this? Was this Galaxy, or was this,
That was me.
Nice. So,
Oh, so you're to blame.
damn. Ari has opinions,
Blame
okay?
is
We'll get into
acceptable.
those. But before we get into those, let's talk a little bit of background here. Girls Last Tour is currently published by Yen Press. It started publishing in 2014 and then ended in 2018. The author is Tsukumizu, who is also the author of another short series called Shimeji Simulation, which I had experienced a little bit of prior. I didn't finish it yet. I believe Shino finished Shimeji Simulation, or I know you've at least started it because that's what your name is based on, right, Shino?
Yep.
Yeah.
It's good. It's only 5 volumes, so I couldn't put it up.
Right, yeah. I think I considered putting it when we were doing short series, or maybe I did, but if I did, it didn't win. So unfortunate, but it's good. It's good. So this author, Girls Last Tour, was his first work, first manga debut. Previously, as we saw in an interview that I posted in the server, he apparently did mostly doujin work. And posted online, and then some editor, I guess, or publisher saw his works and then got in contact with him, and that's how we ended up with Girls Last Tour, which apparently also has a lot of details that included checking out with the Girls und Panzer military advisor person who gave them a whole bunch of details about things like the Kettenkrad that they drive. Is that how you say it? The Kettenkrad? It's like
I don't know. It's all German to me.
it's like a German half-track motorcycle / tank thing. I couldn't tell if it
Yeah,
was
pretty
supposed to be a
much.
tank or a motorcycle, and it seemed like when I looked it up online, there was debate about what it's supposed to be classified
more
as.
tank than motorcycle.
Yeah. But it's a
But-
nice little vehicle that can seat 2 people. So it's very nice for our duo protagonists here to chill out in, who are the people
Doesn't it-
that we have on our cover
It
here.
could sit 3 people?
Was what?
Doesn't mention it said 3 people? I thought it said that.
Oh, I'm
Hold
sorry.
on, I'm sorry.
One driver, 2 passengers. That's what I read. You're right. Yes.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
it can sit 3 people, but it's one of them has to be the driver. Yeah. So, and that's why we do have a couple of times where they pick up somebody to drive around, or at least one person. I know they met the other person. I don't remember if they gave them a ride. Anyways, yeah. So they worked on this. There was an anime adaptation. It was 12 episodes by Studio White Fox, and it aired in fall 2017 season. The author, Tsukumizu, I looked up to see if there was any other interesting tidbits I could find about them. And apparently they have a YouTube channel that they haven't done anything with, except for last year they did 3 live streams of them doing art with a text-to-speech VTuber model that they came up with, which looks like one of their little characters, but they're wearing a fish around their face. Very interesting.
Damn.
Don't know what they're saying in it because there's no subtitles or translations for it, but there's somebody in the replies of one of the streams saying, sorry for my translations. I don't know if that was supposed to be the fan translator of it, I guess, who the author may have said a comment about. I wasn't sure, but other people were saying thank you for the translations. They appreciate their translations. I don't actually know how the fan translations were because I read the official Yen Press release. I don't know how many of you read that or if you guys read the local library version. So I don't know how different it is. But the one couple details that I did notice was that the versions you guys read on that site I mean that library version that you commented, it had the chapters wrong for the volumes, which is why I had to post an updated schedule of the chapter numbers per volume. I'm not sure if maybe it was sectioned out, the volume chapter numbers like that originally, and then they were updated with the actual, what are they called,
I
tankobon
wouldn't be surprised
releases
if it was like that.
or something. But it's supposed to be like that in the Japanese version as well, as far as I can tell. So I'm not entirely sure what happened there, but we're reading each week based on the English chapter versions that I know of, at least. So if you are somebody who's listening in and trying to keep up with the readings with this, there is an updated reading chart you want to go through and make sure you get the chapter numbers right. For this week, we're discussing up to and including chapter 16. It's called Takeoff and includes a plane taking off. So
I know, crazy.
if you have not gotten to there yet, give yourself 5 minutes and you'll get caught up. It doesn't take that long to read Girls Last Tour. It's a pretty quick read.
It's very short.
It's one of those things, though, where it's like, it's a quick read, but it's one of those things where, like, when you look back at some of the areas, you can appreciate a lot of the detail that's going on behind the scenes and in the backgrounds and with the setup of things. And also the, like, more thought-provoking nature of the simplicity of what they're talking about and things like that. Being into more detail with that, with each of the chapters, because I have some thoughts about some of the things that they were discussing that I thought was interesting with how they presented it. But first, I know we have hot takes from Ari, or maybe not hot takes, because some of these takes are probably about right from other people who were not as much of a fan as this as well, probably. But what were your thoughts that you are interested in sharing with us, Ari?
Well, the thing that was immediately immediately, I guess, questioning to me was I couldn't really get grounded in the world because there was just I couldn't really understand where the characters were coming from.
Right.
Because they were never given any kind of backstory to them, but at the same time, their dialogue doesn't give us it raised more questions to me than gave me any kind of like vague answers.
Yeah.
Because I mean, one, we don't really know their age. They're described as girls, girls last tour and stuff. So it's like, okay, well, maybe they're like 12, maybe they're 15, maybe they're 8.
Yep.
It could
Maybe
just
they're
be
50.
girls. It could just be girls as like females, and maybe they are adults and they're just, they look young, they're 18, 20 something. Okay. But their dialogue, a lot of it in the early chapters was like, hey, what's chocolate? What are we going, like, what did they make this for? What are these buildings for? And I'm sitting there like, so where did y'all come from? Like, did you just get dropped into this world?
Yeah.
Because
that
it
is
really
something I
felt
thought
like
about
they
too,
hadn't
yeah.
been living.
Yep.
It really felt like they hadn't been living in that world up until we literally start the volume. That once we start the chapter, that's when they started living in this world.
Yes.
And it's like, to me, it felt like the author was trying to go for like a dreamlike kind of aspect to it. And in order to achieve a good dreamlike feel, you have to have vagueness to it. And that to me felt like what they were trying to do. But the problem is that you can be vague while still having answers, right? Because the vagueness here, it's not vague. It's like, okay, you just don't know where you are. You don't know anything about this. How have you survived up to this point if you're just constantly like running around on this vehicle thing looking for food? How have you survived? Where have you been living? What's your family look like? At one point they mentioned their grandpa. So like, are they related? Are they just friends that have lived together so long? Whose grandpa was that? Where is he now? Like, what was their family situation? Why did they leave? Why are they constantly on this vehicle? It's things like that where it's like, you've opened up such a big can of worms just because you didn't want to give basic details about these girls' lives. You didn't want to set anything in stone down, even if you left it vague. So now I have even more questions now, and I don't get I'm more like frustrated than like actually like confused, you know? Or maybe I'm confused from like an authorial standpoint where I'm like, why did you not just have like some kind of background for these girls? And I assume later on, because towards the end they do mention a grandpa, that we will get some more background information on them. But to have it so vague up front to where they literally do not know where anything about their world was just very like, really? Really? To me.
Yeah, I will say I can understand entirely where you're coming from. A lot of your points to me kind of made it more interesting for me in a way. But I can understand why you feel like that. To me, I was wondering the same thing about what age are these girls actually supposed to be? Are they acting like they don't know these things because they're literal children who somehow have like been raising themselves, or are they like adults that just do not know what these things are, and the only knowledge that they have is like a couple things that she has read from books, and they don't fully know what they mean. They just know that they've been referenced in this before. Because Yuri definitely, I'm sorry. Wait, was there a name Yuri, or is it you?
Yeah, Yuri.
Yuri. Okay, yes, it's Chito and Yuri. I keep
Yuri and
Chito
Chito.
and Yuri.
I keep forgetting because they keep shortening their names to like Chi and Yu.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like Yuri especially is one of those people who's just, I'm the bronze here. I can use the gun. I want to eat food and go on adventures. I'm very like fun, easygoing, chill, or whatever. And so they're not as concerned about these things, and they're just kind of like an airhead almost about these things for their kind of character. And Cheeto like knows things from books and has told these things to Yuri on occasion, but Yuri doesn't really process them. So I wonder the same thing where I'm just like, we know later on that there's the area is like a multi-layered big structure thing, and they are currently on like the lower stratum at like the start, or some lower stratum at the start, and that civilizations over time have like been building on top of the other and just living on that new one that they built on top of the other. So a part of me wondered if maybe these two came from some kind of upper stratum at some point, and now they're in these lower stratums that they don't know anything about, because over time, a long period of time, these things have been abandoned, maybe? Yeah, there's a lot of different ideas that you kind of get in your head about with these things, and it can be frustrating when you don't understand like where we are and where we're trying to go, which it can be the nature of slice of life stories where, don't worry too much about that, just enjoy whatever they're doing and enjoy the environment, enjoy the vibes. But also with the first few chapters, you do get a sense of like, okay, they're lost in this facility. How did they even get in here? Why do they not understand some basic concepts but like know these other things? How are they surviving this long the way that they have been going? Do they even know where they're going? Is there a plan of where we're trying to go? But I do enjoy the way that we are only being slowly fed certain bits of information about the world. Personally, I enjoy that, but I can understand why it's frustrating.
Well, see, I'm fine with that, with doing that, but it's the way they did it that I don't like.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's the way that the specific questions that they ask each other, like, why did they use so many guns? What is this chocolate? What's this fish? What's the ocean? It's like, where have you been? Literally, where have you been before we started this series?
Right.
I don't get it. And I feel like if they just tightened that up a bit, I wouldn't have nearly as big a gripe about it. Because the world looks pretty interesting. You've got the multi-layers, and that in itself is doing a lot more world building to me than anything that Yuri and Cheeto said at all in any of these. You know, just the backgrounds themselves are doing so much more interesting things.
Right.
So wait, tell me, Ari's both main characters are either me or Columbo.
So like the author from based on what I saw in like that interview that we read and just reading through the volume, it appears that they have the characters do their rambling back and forth to each other, and in many times it'll be a very simplistic conversation. It'll be like, where have you been? Why don't you understand these basic things yet? Or whatever, like, what is going on? Why are you asking obvious things like, what is this concept that I don't know about that might be food in a ration? What is chocolate and stuff like that? What is fish? Like, the author has these conversations. I believe they described it for like punchline either in a comedic way or in like a more philosophical way for like the message he was trying to convey with each chapter, I guess. But like you said, the backgrounds of the areas, the way that they're detailed and structured and set up tell a lot more of the lore than the actual characters do, except when we get towards some of the like side characters that they meet and then they just lore dump to them the knowledge that they know. Because other people in this world are like seem to be actively doing things to try to bring society back in some way, whereas these two are just driving around trying to survive. They literally have to keep moving because they keep running out of food. That's it. They don't really have a goal in mind. They don't really have a place to live. They're just driving around to try to find more food, which is essentially we're starting off with them just in a dark facility that they don't even know how to get out of because it's like a big thing. They're in the dark. They somehow have pathways everywhere that they can drive across in this facility, but they're inside of like some building area and they've been stuck there for days, running out of food. Things like that. And it's interesting, but I can also understand why it is frustrating early on, especially. It might also be a case of like Shino described with Shimeji Simulation, where the work might grow on you more so later on with how it develops. Like, because it sounds like the main thing you're looking for is more of the lore behind these two characters specifically and how they ended up like clueless about these things as they are, which it might get revealed later or it might not. With Slice of Life, you never really know because in many cases that's not really the point of some of these series. So it could be a coin flip whether or not they actually get into that. But it'd be interesting to see. But
it does very much like that interview you had posted earlier saying that they got their start with Dojin Works and this was their first original work. It does feel very Dojin to me. Someone who spends too much time reading Dojin.
Dojin.
Dojin is just indie. Japanese, basically, just something that somebody made themselves, not a company or corporation.
Yep. Yeah,
it does have that very Dojin, rough around the edges feel to me.
Yeah, I like that. I like those kind of art styles. I really like the art style that we have going on with here. Even beyond just the level of detail they tried to give all the areas that the girls go to, just the style of the way the art's, I don't know how you describe it. If you would describe it as more of like a sketchy kind of looking rough style, or like I'm not sure how you would exactly describe as an artist, like the type of style this is. But this is the type of style that I really, really enjoy and would like to emulate in the future. It's really nice. I very much like it. Yeah. I'm trying to think.
So from the non-haters, what do you like about it?
Yeah, what do you guys like? What did everybody else think? Shino, what did you think about Girls Last Tour so far?
I like it. I feel like I'm not really picky about having super much detail or plot or structure. I think it's more like a vibes-based thing. It's very
As long as there's girls, yeah.
Also, everyone is very cute.
This is
Though I
true.
did feel like some parts after reading a lot of various apocalyptic fiction recently, it's kind of like everyone uses that, like the plane stuff. It's like everyone has a plane or a rocket shooter if it's a apocalyptic
Yeah.
story.
Give Yuri
This
a
really
rocket.
reminds me. Yeah, this really reminded me of two
Funny you
things.
say that.
One, Soloist in the Cage, which we read earlier this year or
Yep.
last
Oh
year.
my god.
Yep.
Which was my recommendation, because it's also a like a post-apocalyptic kind of, more just like a authoritarian city-state,
Yeah.
police state, that's built on each other, and they have to, build a plane. But then also Ghostpia, which we were talking about earlier today, where it's like a very snowy place. It's kind of it's Ghost in that one, but it's more of like just people kind of aimlessly drifting around, trying to figure out what to do in this world where things kind of don't really change anymore. I was getting those kind of vibes from this, which are good vibes. I just didn't like how they're about it. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
You just hated everything about it.
No, hate is a strong word.
It's okay.
It's
Ari
Look,
just
Ari,
hates slice of
it's
life.
An earned one.
She just
but-
hates slice of life. She hated Manga Dio. She hates
Hey,
this.
hey, my last visual novel was Slice of Life, okay?
Oh, there you go. There you go.
You
Did you
can't
like
say
it?
that I hate Slice of Life. I just... No.
I mean, we can say whatever we want.
This is a free country.
I don't hate slice of life. I like
Maybe not for much longer.
Ari's like, I don't hate slice of life. I like the slice of life that I write. I don't know. Based. Galaxy, what did you think of
I mean,
Girls
like,
Last
where's the
Tour?
slice of life?
Galaxy, you've read all of this before, right?
Yes, I watched the anime and then I read the manga like a good few years ago now. It's probably one of my favorite works of fiction.
Base, nice.
So obviously there's a lot I could say to Ari, but I won't.
Spoilers.
Right, that's fair. That's fair.
Do your worst.
You'll find out. You'll find out. This is
I'll probably
war.
find out.
This is war. The true nature.
No, I mean, I think those are fair things. It does just seem like it's the kind of thing that you're not going to vibe with, which, whatever, that's fine. I guess without delving too deeply into like spoiler territory, I think this is one of the only works of like apocalypse or post-apocalyptic fiction that I think actually delivers on the feeling of apocalypse.
Hmm.
Trying to debate how much more I want to say.
That's fair. You can always just leave it. It's fine. We can save your core thoughts for another time. I mean, it's only gonna take us 3 weeks to read, and
Yeah.
like we had said before, here's the other thing I will say too. If you are somebody who's listening to this and you're on the fence about checking it out, or if you're on the fence of like the series in general, the good news is at least it is a very, very quick read. It is not a big pressure to sit down and read it. It's like a very fast read. We were even saying in the server, like, if we had known ahead of time, we probably should have tried to make it 3 volumes a week for us to discuss, and that we would have had this done in 2 weeks. But then again, with the timing, it would have just meant that we had another extra week off in the vacations or whatever. So
we're out of 1 week to continue new games.
I was saying though, we should probably start forming some kind of list of like one shots for like in case of a early week in like some weird instances, or if like we want to meet for like a one shot in between longer series or whatever. We should keep a recommendation list of those prepared as a break class in case of emergency kind of scenario with those. That'd be interesting to do.
That'd be a good idea.
Yeah, or finish a new game like Shadow said. We could do the next set of new game volumes. You know, I'm just saying. There's a lot of volumes of it. Or we could do what was the other one that we started? The zombie one. I Am a Hero. That one's another one. That one's a longer one though. I would be down to go back to that at some point.
We
But
can
yeah.
also read X2 if you want to suffer.
Oh boy. But yeah, so like that's the good news about this. If you are somebody who is interested in this, you don't know if you're gonna vibe with this kind of style, and maybe you're even hesitant to like if this is your kind of style at the beginning, you can read through the whole thing to give yourself a full judgment, and it's probably not going to cost you more than like 2 or 3 hours of reading the whole thing if you actually were going to sit down and read it all. It's pretty short. It might take you longer if you want to sit back and think more about some like appreciate more of the backgrounds or think about some of the like more core philosophical things that they're talking about, but you don't necessarily have to if you just want to experience like the vibes that they're going through on their journey. So if you're somebody who wants to try out a new experience, if you're somebody who hasn't tried out some kind of slice of life story and want one that's like more than a school slice of life type deal or whatever, you know, this might be a nice, easy thing for you to try out. Either that or Shimeji Simulation is probably another interesting short to try out by the same author. So
I would also very much recommend watching the anime.
Yeah.
As well. It's a really good anime, or I think it's a really good adaptation. And one sequence in particular very much benefits from being an anime and having music.
Okay, all right, that's cool to know.
Yeah, there's an actual song in the anime for that sequence, and it's
for the rain sounds one.
Probably, yeah, it's probably my favorite part of the anime. I can link it. Hold on.
Yeah, link it. I'd like to check it out.
What you're telling me is something to remember for AMQ.
Yeah, probably. How much of the manga does the anime adapt?
I think it might be exactly or just under the first 4 volumes.
Okay.
Huh.
Yep.
Do you think they're ever going to finish it?
No.
I fucking wish.
It's from like 2017, so probably not at this point.
Yeah.
White Fox, I think, is focused on ReZero now.
Kill to see this get animated.
Oh wait, say people? Are you joking?
I think White Fox does ReZero, but I think they might do a lot of other. Yeah, they do ReZero, but I think they do a lot of other stuff too.
Look, in between, the 10 years it takes between ReZero, there's a chance.
Also, ReZero's printing money right now. I think the girl's got to wait. Yeah, it's unfortunate.
I've been waiting.
Don't worry, Galaxy will do it eventually.
We'll make our own Girls Last Tour too. Okay, we'll make it happen.
Girls Last Tour abridged.
Also, there you go.
There's the link. Thank you so much for that. I'll check that out later. Shadow, what did you think of Girls Last Tour?
I thought it was fine. The main benefit being though is that it didn't take long to fucking read. Okay, the worst they could do to me is make me bored. Much like Clown Arc or Sailor Moon.
Yeah, especially in comparison to Sailor Moon.
Because it didn't have clowns!
Yes, exactly. That's true. Especially compared to Sailor Moon, it was a much easier read. Yeah, it's...
it felt so good. It's like, finally. I feel like I'm in purgatory.
Yeah,
You're welcome.
Yeah, there were many pages where it's... like either just focused on the backgrounds, a nice 2-page spread of a lot of the background setting scenes, or like they're saying like 2 or 3 words to each other for like a page to like keep the conversations very simple but very like thought-provoking in certain ways. But
what's chocolate?
I mean, what is chocolate really when you think about it?
Each chapter is like 16 pages.
Yeah, very, very short.
Very short.
Because we read the first 2 volumes, and the first 2 volumes was 16 chapters, so it was pretty good. And yeah, the neat thing too. Again, I put this in the server, but it's might not be in whatever versions some of the people here have read. There's bonus memes at the end of the volumes. They include the first volume has a detailed schematics of the Kettencrad that they drive. which I'll show on stream once I download it now.
Speaking of, there's one detail with the Ken cred that I find very funny. You know exactly what it is.
It was very long. I didn't read all of it, or I didn't remember all of it for what you might be referencing.
Okay, it's this.
Hold on, let me show this on stream first. Girls Last. So this is the Kettenkrad design with commentary explaining it from the supervisor of Girls und Panzer, which this was also how I found out that Girls und Panzer did not start as a manga. It started as an anime and then had a manga afterwards. I didn't know that, actually. I thought it was the other way around for the whole time. And that the author of Girls und Panzer just really fucking loved tanks. But no, it was like the whole anime studio with like military advisors and everything. I was like, God damn. Oh, your favorite one is the lights light the way, the headlight of the...
Yeah. Very important information, you know?
Like
they don't tell you about that.
It's very...
I mean, how else are you going to know what it does?
This is where it gets into the very detailed tank military bro lover details, which the whole... So, okay, if you're somebody who watches the book club streams on YouTube and follows me on Twitter and sees my Twitter banner, both of which have a cover of the cover is a torn up manga volume, and the cover is the remains of Girls und Panzer Volume 1, the manga. Okay, I tore that up back in like 2016 or whatever, and I've just used that for like a background image for these things for years. And the reason why I tore up Girls und Panzer was it was like one of those things where the manga, at least from what I remembered, it was very, very insanely detailed about these tanks to like a crazy degree, and it's all supposed to be accurate about it, but then I was bored with everything else about it. So I was just so frustrated with how much effort they put in for something that I thought was mid, so I tore it up. And it was, I mean, I bought another version, I bought another copy of it later, mostly so I could rip it up again as a joke if I ever wanted to, but yeah, so like, you get here another bit where it's like the hyper, like, detailed, all accurate information about these kind of things, and then they like adjust some of the stuff and like design it nicely for the use in the story. Like all the lore and details that they get into, that's not the bad thing about it. With Girls und Panzer, I was just bored with the way the manga was presenting things. Maybe I would like more so the way the anime presents it, but it is very nice, the detail that they get into with that and how focused it is. Many of it... I'm sorry, say that again, Chino?
The anime is very good. Lots of property destruction.
Oh damn! I do think I should probably. I should probably check out the Girls und Panzer manga at some point. Or not manga, the anime at some point. I don't know if I would check out the manga again, but yeah.
Wait, tell me, I got a new suggestion for the anime book club.
If you want to get banned from book club, yeah, that's true. You do have that.
Hold on, I would get banned for suggesting that, but not X2.
If you're specifically suggesting it to piss me off, because I know you are, then yeah, why not?
Okay, understandable.
No, I would not be against Girls und Panzer if it did get actually picked up. I just don't know if a lot of people here would actually like it, but that's up to you guys. Yeah, so the level of detail that gets into with that is really neat, but a lot of that actual info is not really stuff that ever really interests me. I like the fact that they go into that though, but I just hear read it talking about like how fast it could go and the things like that, and I'm just, my eyes kind of glaze over. But I'm like still excited about them going into that detail for it and then trying to incorporate that into the story. I liked more so than that though. I liked what they did for Volume 2. Volume 2 had a big diagram map of their journey so far, with each of the chapters labeled for the locations, which is very nice. I'm trying to get it to show it to the stream now. The volumes also included afterwards from the author that are very short, but I'll show those too. Here, oh no, I just downloaded the Kettenkrad one again. We don't need the Kettenkrad again, please. We don't need the Kettenkrad again. Please, no more Girls und Panzer. No more.
Kettenkrad. 2.
I guess the person was also the advisor for Strike Witches, which I've never seen Strike Witches, but I hear it's popular. I don't know if I would
It's
say I
slightly
hear
less
good things.
good,
It's slightly less good, you
but
said? Okay.
lots of girls.
Lots of girls.
It's
Okay.
like guns, girls, military vibes.
Are they
Are there
actually
witches?
are they actually witches? Do they wear witch hats?
No, no one wears pants though.
Based.
I'm sorry. Why?
The entire gimmick is that everyone is like a fighter pilot, but their fighter pilot things are these magical leg thingies or whatever. And then because of that, I guess in world, anyone who's a witch, aka they have magic until they turn like 20 or something, doesn't wear pants.
Oh damn. Oh okay. All right. Interesting lore.
Naturally.
Interesting lore.
Yeah, why not? I guess.
So what we have on screen right now is the tour so far as of the end of Volume 2. It's a nice little way to wrap up Volume 2, especially for the book club discussion, because I was able to be like, oh yeah, they did start there at the start. It's not drawn to scale. They have the note down there explaining that it's technically not drawn to scale. This is just drawn in order to show us visually where things are at. And, you know, they start in this, like, bottom right-hand corner, the starry sky. Like, looks like they almost, like, just entered whatever is all inside of this, but really it looks like a side construction bit of the facility or something. They're going through the war section. I couldn't tell if the war section was supposed to be the remains of a battlefield or if it was supposed to be like an old military like complex area that they've like found the like old weapons and vehicles and stuff there, or if this was just the remains of a battlefield.
Complex, I think.
Yeah. Because there was a lot of vehicles that looked like they were destroyed, but it could have also just been like just erosion over time or some shit. I don't know. Some of them looked real fucked up though. But then again, they're in a multi-layered structure. Things might be falling on occasion. I don't know exactly how this is set up with that for protections. Somehow we have different weather systems. Like we have rain that'll happen, but maybe that's not actual rain. Maybe that's just like water from the areas above, I guess, from like the drainage systems. I'm not entirely sure, but it's interesting to see it. And the war area, then the section where they found the hot water pipe, so they had a bath there. The journal area, the place where they did the laundry, and then it goes when they go into the city, and then to the upper area. It's very cool. I like this to like show us the detail of their journey, because prior to seeing this, you know, like Ari was describing, I did kind of feel almost lost, or like that their wandering was kind of just going wherever. But seeing it laid out like this made it more like, okay, we actually have like an actual thought out journey that we're on in a way. You know, it feels more like, not necessarily that they know where they're going, but that there's been actual thought put into where we wanted these, like writing wise, like where the author was sending these girls, and that it is all like accurate to where it should be, and there has been thought put into where these things are located. You know, if they're next to a water drainage power supply system, when the snow melts, it's actually going to shoot out big bursts of water, and then from there they can do their laundry and things like that. It's a mixture of like the timing of the season and them arriving there and things like that, like help towards the events happening, and then it makes sense with like where a lot of these facilities are located, and then they go towards the city area, and then that's got a whole bunch of stuff connected with it. It's very nice. It's very cool. So it's very interesting to see that detail laid out like that. That's the kind of details that interest me way more than the Kettenkrad one, but the Kettenkrad one is still very cool because it is, again, the author being like, this is my work. It may seem very easy to consume and very like simple to read through, but there has been a shit ton of effort and care put into this work, and I appreciate that. I appreciate that a lot. Yeah, it's very, very cool with that detail. We do have, again, we have afterwords that the author left for us. Here is the afterword for Volume 1. Oh. Here we go. It's afterword. I didn't realize it before, but making a manga is actually pretty strenuous. Despite the boundless anxiety eating away at me, occasionally I'm able to draw a good line or something, and I get a little spark of joy. And when that happens, I sort of feel an overlap with the girl's journey. And I got a little picture of the dog there too. Got a little dog. I guess she's wearing like a little fish outfit. It's got like a fish on it. Which, by the way, they find a fish and they're like, "Why the fuck is there a fish? We thought it's like a freshly dead fish, or like not like a."
But that like extinct back in the Rapture.
Yeah, they were just like, I thought I thought there was only humans left after the war and the horrors or whatever. Why is there a fish here? But they were saying that is because it came from the drainage system. It's probably from a higher stratum where maybe shit is less fucked, I guess. I'm not sure. Volume 2's afterward. Also, image of them and their dog. And now they're walking. And this is afterward. Reading it over again, I think Ishii and Kanazawa, too, must have been terribly lonely. Do we humans start building airplanes and whatnot when we're lonely? Perhaps they were envious of Chito and Yuri, who have the luxury of living together. I get envious of these two girls I draw all the time, too. Living just for the sake of living. How great would that be? I think as I pet my outdoor dog.
So you know we said during Sailor Moon that the author's writing says a lot about them?
Yeah. You're just gonna leave it at that?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure, leave that.
I mean, yeah. It does. It says a lot about them, yeah.
Yeah.
This is true. This is true. I mean, yeah. So it's I think it's very thoughtful, meaningful. I appreciate how much that the author cared about this work. It may seem to people when they first look at it that it's like just rough doujin doodles from a doujin artist maybe who happens to like post-apocalypse military aesthetic, but it has a lot of detail and care baked into it, despite perhaps the way it may look to people who don't care about this type of work. Usually. I think we both banned them at the same time.
No, I got it.
I tried to ban somebody who was a spam poster on Twitch and Shadow banned them at the same time, so I banned them and then Shadow removed the ban. So don't worry about that. Listen.
I thought you were about to say Shadow.
Listen, Northern Timidity, we do not want cheap viewers. Northern Lion himself is trying to sell me cheap viewers as we talk about Girls Last Tour. Yeah, it's probably happening, yeah.
I believe it.
So, Girls Last Tour, we had each of the journeys, each of the little chapters. There's not too much that happens in many of them, except for probably more so the actual encounters they have with the other people, which we can get into detail about those characters too as well. But I do have the list of the chapters and some of the details that happen in some of them that I could remember for some of them. So the opening one, I think we already discussed a little bit before. Starry Sky, they're starting off in a dark facility. They don't know. We're just kind of dropped there at the beginning of the story. We're not like in an outside world going into it. We're started off with they're already in darkness. They don't know where they're going to go. They just know they're running out of food. They don't even know if where they're going there is going to be food, but they just know right now they're kind of trapped in the darkness, wandering around in this big facility aimlessly because they don't know where to go. Eventually they do figure out where to go because they're like, oh, we can't see like light that leads outside, but we can try to use wind to determine where there's like some kind of opening for us to go. So they follow that to try to figure it out. But until then, they're just kind of more wondering about this kind of stuff, being like, what are we even gonna do when we get there, or how are we just going to be trapped here forever? They go into this building because their facility, because Yuri's just like, hey, there's a hole in this building. Why don't we just go check that out? And they just kind of wander in and get stuck there for days because that's just how it goes for these two, I guess. And that one specifically was to me just an obvious like, these two don't exactly know where they want to go. They just know that they want to survive. But a whole message about like life, about like where you're traveling to, where you're going to. You might not know what the future has in store for you. There might be many dark paths that you could take to try to find a way towards a brighter future, perhaps, but you don't necessarily know. But the main thing is just to try to find the wind and follow it, and just don't die, I guess. There's a bunch of different ways you could probably interpret that kind of thing, but it's chapters like that immediately get me interested, because it's opening up with a nice little, like, very obvious, I felt, again, you can interpret different ways, but it's very obvious, a kind of chapter where it's like inviting you to be like, these are the two characters, and here is a very obvious setup for some kind of metaphor. What that metaphor means, you can interpret in whatever way that you kind of feel, but there is a thought to be had here about why are they in here, what is the point of it. And this is a trend that kind of carries over many of their other chapters, like when they're talking about war, the nature of that, when they're taking a bath and discussing the afterlife and heaven, when they're talking about the importance of like written records and journals and things like that. They do these kind of little nice things with each of the chapters that I noted as something that makes me really enjoy this series, where many times the appreciation of this series, if you're not a fan of the art or whatever, the appreciation may more so come from thinking more about those kind of little conversations and the setup of what might more symbolically be going on. How the author described it, the punchline he designed for those chapters, whether it's comedic or thought-provoking or otherwise. It's very interesting in that kind of nature, you know. And the first one ends with them, like, the first chapter ends with them finding outside, and it seems very bright to them, but it's nighttime. It just seems bright to them because they've been inside in the dark for so long that their eyes have adjusted in a way to the darkness. So even though it's nighttime, it seems very bright to them.
Adapted.
You know, yeah, they've adapted to it, and so they can see the starry night sky. It's very nice. And then they joke a bit like, what happens when it becomes daytime? Are we gonna melt? Are we gonna fucking die because of our eyes? Is very cute way to start it. And then we get into war. Okay, then we talk about war because we're walking around the remains of the military complex area, seeing all these like different vehicles and stuff. And these girls don't really understand it because, again, they might just not be from this layer of civilization that they're on, or they might not have personally seen these before. But they know about many of these things because Cheeto has eaten. Not eaten. Why does it eaten? You're is the one that eats. Cheetos eating the Cheetos. Okay. She's read, very clearly read a lot of books. Cheeto very clearly has read a lot of books, or like consumed some of the occasional books that she can find, or from their discussion with other people. And she is able to keep and she keeps her own records. That's a different chapter where they have like they talk to us about how she is specifically keeping a journal of their events and what they're doing as records for the other people in the future. And they talk about how people like Yuri, who are like more the bronze people and are not very intelligent with a lot of like mechanical stuff, or like
I'm sorry, did you say bronze?
Yeah, brawn.
You said bronze, not brawn. I swear to God.
Okay. You understand my point, though.
Yes, I understand your point.
I just want to make sure you understand. I'm not talking about the metal. No, I'm not talking about the metal. Bronze is metal, right? Okay, listen.
I don't even do anything there.
Okay. I don't remember where I was now. Oh yeah, people like Yuri need records like books and journals or whatever, because they're the people who aren't going to be able to figure out this shit themselves. So having some kind of access to these things is like a good thing for them, because it will allow them to be able to survive as well. Or to help rebuild society. Because I mean, that's the main thing with a lot of these records and stuff. It's records of previous societies and previous information that people have gathered, so that people can in the future take this information and recreate it or spread it more and things of that nature. And I mean, Yuri accidentally throws one of the books into the fire. Just because Cheeto was like, hey, add more fuel in. And they're like, all right, well, I guess I have this thing. Who cares? And throws it in. And I mean, they realize afterwards, and she yells at Yuri. And then Yuri, I think, drew a little drawing of Cheeto in her journal while she was sleeping. It was very cute. And wrote like sorry with it or whatever. It is the two girls are very cute with their journey together. I liked the one that I screen capped in particular that I then posted in the spoiler zone. Let me show this here. Encounter, the first page of Encounter, where they're driving in the city, and it's this one here. Yeah, it's just them going, hey you, why are humans alive anyway? And then it's just Yuri pausing and then just whacking her in the head with her gun, and then Cheeto's just crying, and Yuri's just like, well, I thought you went a little crazy for a second there. He's like, well, I didn't, okay? I'm just asking a question. It's most like these that remind you of like the two different natures of the characters. Cheeto's actually trying to think about this stuff more, that's like more important, and Yuri has literally said lines like, memories are what hold you back from living. I don't need your journals and records. That's cringe. I'm here for surviving, and my gun, you suck at shooting. So, you know, I get this chocolate bar because you don't have a gun. Easy. Things to that nature.
That is war.
Yeah. I mean, that was the punchline with that, I guess. Because they have the discussion, the war discussion was like they're wandering around inside of a big abandoned bomber plane. Or I don't know if it was for sure a bomber plane, but they talked about there being bomber planes.
Reference?
Was what?
Is that a summertime rendering reference?
Maybe. So they're like wandering around in it, being like, why did people go to war? You know, if people just, why did they make so many weapons and like vehicles and all this stuff when they could have just made food? It's like, true. I mean, why not? But then they're just like, well, you know, maybe they had their reasons, like war. Well, why did they go to war? Well, you know, food. wait. Yeah, maybe, you know, if your interests don't align, like what did they say? If you have enough food for 2 people, but there's 3 people and things like that. So it's like, oh, okay. So instead of making more food, we made weapons to get more food. Okay. Well, listen.
As you do.
Things like that.
The American way.
Very, very simplistic ways to discuss these things, but it's like, you know, maybe they're cooking. Maybe they're cooking about some of this stuff. Maybe we're cooking. Yeah. So like, and that one was they eventually find rations. They find all the weapons too, but they don't really need so much of it. They do want to grab some explosives so that they can like use it to clear paths or whatever for their Kettenkrad. But they find the rations, which is very important. And then there's a bit where they're eating the rations. There's 5 of them. And at first they thought they split them in half, but there was another one. And then Yuri's just like, listen, I have a gun. That's mine. This is war. And then she just eats it, and then they fight. And then they end it on like a comedic note with them just being tired, I think. It's very, very interesting how they handle that stuff. Bro, honestly, I thought when I first read this series, the first volume of this, because I own the first volume and I read it, I think 2 years ago when I got it. I forget which convention I got it from. And I think when I had read the volume the first time and she pulled out the gun on her friend, I was like, oh no, is this where the series gets like fucking dark and she just kills her and then we just do something else? What's happening with this series? Oh, and that was not what happened. I was like, oh shit, oh fuck, they're about to go to war. But it was just a tee-hee slice of life moment. The bath one.
Yeah, it's a very lighthearted series.
Well, lighthearted in terms of like the tone of their day-to-day nature, obviously not lighthearted of the nature of the world and probably where things are going to go. It's presented in that they're just having they're starving and struggling to try to find places to be, but they're still kind of chill with it in a way, because they have each other, I guess. Because that was the running theme.
They don't know anything else.
Yeah, that was the other theme. Every other person that they met seems to have some big goal or purpose for their life. But that's mostly because they've also been alone for a long time in this world. Kanazawa, who they meet later, is a cartographer, was a map maker, and he's making maps, and he's literally they have a discussion with him literally about like their like purpose and all that, and he says, if I lost my maps, that's my purpose to that's my reason for living. And at some point they're taking a left up, and the maps that he made go away, and he's like, well, might as well just let me go because I don't have my maps anymore, or something like that, right? Yeah. Were you gonna say something, Ari?
The dude might as well have said, look, I'm retiring tomorrow. Like,
it's yeah, he like cares about that kind of stuff. And the other one that they meet later, Ishii, she is a engineer science person who specifically is living at like a air base and trying to build her own plane. She finds records of a shit ton of previous planes and decides to build her own for, I forget what the reasons were. I think it was mostly because like fuel calculations and also materials that were available. But for whatever reason, she took the information from those and tried to design her own plane. And because of this, it didn't really work out. But it was another arc focusing on someone they met who has a purpose that they're trying to accomplish. With them, it was more specific. I'm running out of food here, and I need to get flying to the next city. I need to get to the next city. In order to get there, I would like to build a plane that will take me there and guarantee that I can get there so that I can have more food and I can survive and I can figure something out when I'm there. Otherwise, I don't really know what else I'm going to do. So she pretty much says, like, even if it fucks up, oh, well, I'm probably going to die anyways because I won't have any more food. So fuck it, why not? So they help her out with that. And it's the difference between these people who have been alone and are trying to give themselves purpose, and then these two who don't exactly have anything that they need to do except for find food. They just need to drive around and find food. They have a chapter where they talk about home and what it means to like have a home, and they look at their Kettengrad and they're like, "Is that technically our home?" And they're like, "Well, no, not really. I mean, even though it kind of is in a way, but like more so." Home for them is like being on the road together, I guess, because they can't really stay anywhere as much as they would like to because they just don't have access to food. They don't have any food storage facilities that they can easily access, and there's like a lot of old facilities, power, water, and stuff. Some of them are still running, and others are like failing or about to fail. So it's very mixed of what they have access to depending on where they are. Some places seem to be automatically running. Other places like just seem fucked up and destroyed. Other places seem like they don't work unless the seasons have melted the snow and things like that. It kind of depends. Yeah. I liked as well when they're just just driving around figuring out how a camera works. Kanazawa gives them a camera at some point. They're just trying to figure out how that works. I think the camera gave us another detail about the world. I think it said the date. I think it said they're supposed to be in the year 3232. Yep. Which I was like, oh damn, is that what those numbers mean? I was like, oh shit. And that mixed with the discussion they had with Kanazawa. Kanazawa explained that like they are in a multi-layered structure, which appears to be ancestors of each generation, or eventually hundreds of years later or whatever, would eventually just build a new world on top of the other one, and that's what the stratums are. So they keep it up like that, where the lower you are, the less advanced the society is. So as they go up, I'm assuming it means that the society and technology is going to get more and more complex and advanced. I'm not entirely sure about that, but it's gonna be interesting to see.
Layers.
The series reminded me of Made in Abyss in a way, but like kind of the opposite. Made in Abyss, the thing with Made in Abyss was once you go into it, you can't go back up. Once you start descending into this world, you can't go back up anymore. You have to keep going down. Otherwise, I think it like crushes you or like kills you if you try going, or like it changes you into a monster. I forget what it was. You can't go back up
Changes
anymore.
you into a monster, I think.
Yeah,
or it
yeah.
just kills you, maybe outright.
Yeah, one or the other,
while.
something like that. There's some kind of weird force with Main the Abyss that prevents them from going back up once they start descending into the abyss, that world, and so they have to keep going down. Here, they believe that the way to give themselves a better life would be to find a way to go up, because there might be more facilities or more supplies that are actually still available to them. But with cases like Takeoff, the final chapter for this week, where our pilot's flight didn't work out, but she didn't die in the crash. She just kind of parachuted out of it. She was just like, well, I guess I'm just floating to the lower stratum now. I won't die, but maybe I could figure something out from there, I guess. I don't know. Like, I guess she has that going for them, where it's like, you're not dead from the fact that the flight failed, and you might be able to find food down there. Maybe. I wouldn't hold my breath on it because it's the lowest of the stratums, but it's interesting how that world offers that to them. The ability to go through the different layers and having different levels of resources and technologies available to them is a very, very interesting way to set up the world. And again, though, we don't have too many details of how a lot of these things work. Very little information is actually given to us, and many of it we're just meant to like imagine or like try to think of how that would work at this point. It's very cool. It's very cool how that happens. Got a couple messages here from Fuse. Never drew the comparison between this and Main Abyss. Yeah, I think I might also be biased because I watched Main Abyss a couple of years ago for the first time. And I think at around the time I had also read that first volume of Girls Last Tour. So I think that was why it was easier for me to draw the comparison. But yeah, I just kept thinking of like the directions.
Anime were also released around the same time.
Oh, that would make sense. Yeah, 2017. So yeah, that would make sense. Fuse Hunter also said, and to answer that question, the answer is yes. It scales with how deep in the abyss you are. Yes, that's true. I remember the deeper you are, the bigger the punishment is when you go up or whatever. Main Abyss is really good. Go check that out if you're interested. It does have some weird moments though, and if those put you off, I don't. If those put you off, I don't blame you. But
yeah, I don't know that that's a safe recommendation, man.
No, it's a good series aside from those bits. So it's yeah. I haven't finished the manga series though. I've only caught up with whatever the anime's been putting out. So, anyways, yeah. So, what did other people here think about some of the little events that they mentioned in the little journeys that we had in some of the chapters? Is there any that particularly stuck out to some of you about the chapters we had for this week?
One thing I did like is the kind of philosophy around meeting the characters. So I liked the very kind of gentle approach to it all. That these are just people figuring out some way to have a meaningful existence when there is no existence left, essentially. Trying to figure out some kind of meaning to all of it. Well, not even really a meaning, just more of where do I go from here, How do I what do I do now, Meaning can come later. Right now is, I just need the now.
Yeah.
And I liked their interactions with the other people that they met. Yeah, I liked that aspect of it.
Yeah, some of the people they met have been pretty chill too.
Yeah,
Kanazawa,
very chill.
Kanazawa, though, they meet from him blowing up. They're like at a chasm and they're trying to figure out how to get across, and then a building just blows up, and it's Kanazawa blew up the building to make a bridge. But at this time, they were like, I don't know who the fuck this guy is, but he just blew up that fucking building. Point the gun at him, Yuri. Show us your fucking hands. What are you doing? What did you say, Shadow?
Oh, nothing.
Oh, okay. Yeah, but that was just I just wanted to build a bridge. That was a nice little way to introduce him too. He just said some simple line like, "Oh, I just there wasn't a bridge, so I made one. There wasn't a way through, so I just did it myself." I was like, "Oh, okay, that's a neat little again."
He's so real for this.
Yeah.
Become the change you want to see in the world.
It's again. It kind of reminds me of
blow yourself up.
It reminds me of the way Tatsuki Fujimoto kind of does dialogue in a way. It's very simplistic, but very like emotionally packed or like symbolically packed with some of that stuff. It's just, oh, there wasn't a way for me to move on, so I made a way for me to move on, and things like that. Like, and with how we started the series with them just being aimless and lost or whatever, like I was like, oh, it was a nice little way to introduce this character and immediately like establish his thought process with life or whatever. That's nice. It's a nice little way to do that. And I think the Ishii, the plane engineer girl that they meet later, they meet her because she's flying a test little plane or drone or something. And they're like, oh, it's a success. She's like too focused on that to like care about these two new girls that have just shown up in front of her and things like that. Because she's just looking at the planes soaring into soaring into wherever. She didn't even care to like go retrieve it or whatever. She's like, it's whatever. I got other stuff I got to do. It'll be fine. It's very nice. And I liked the shot too when they had Ishii showing off all the records of the previous planes and stuff, because they were just like, this is valuable knowledge. This facility may have been some kind of like research thing on all of these old planes, she was saying. And so she has the records for it seemed like those people also, they knew like some information, but not a lot. Like Ari said, it seems like a lot of these people just don't know what seems to have happened in these areas, which really does make me wonder, like, if they were all just like Fortnite dropped into some random world, like Isekai in or something.
They're like Columbo.
Yeah, they're just like, I don't know what this is. I'll just figure it out. And yeah. One more thing. Yeah.
Oh no, I was saying like the idea with Columbo is that he appears out of nowhere and disappears into nowhere.
Oh, I see. Yeah. I mean,
he's like mythological presence to him.
You wish you could do that, don't we all? I think it would be a nice ability. We just drive in on our Kenton Crad and then leave. Yeah. Yeah. What else did we have here? Anybody else have any? We had the rain song scene. They're like stacking up a whole bunch of stuff as it's raining in some shelter thing, and they have a make song. Obviously, in the manga we don't get song, but we get nice little manga visuals of all this stuff. So I'm very interested to watch the clip that Galaxy sent us of the anime version, which apparently gave it a song. That's going to be pretty cool. Yeah, they focus on. Oh, they go into a temple at some point. They find a temple in the. By the way, they
find God.
The whole city area, like the core city where they find like the lift up to the. Bro, the city has like a whole bunch of weirdly set up architecture and buildings and stuff. Very big. It feels like they, no matter how long they drive, they're like making very little, if any, progress to where they gotta go. It's very lucky to them they found a map maker who has already made a map of the city. Otherwise they'd be fucking lost again and just fucking die or never get across the chasm. And then they go up and eventually find a temple. They just kind of wander into it. They do talk every now and then about like the nature of like what is the afterlife. I think at one point they're driving around in the snow and they wonder if like maybe they're both just already dead, because that is what I wondered at first with the first chapter. I was like, is this like a purgatory story? Are they like dead from the war and now they're just ghosts wandering around in this desolate world forever or something like that? I was wondering that. And then I think I think in that discussion they were just like, yeah, but I heard the afterlife is supposed to be like hot. I heard it's supposed to be hot and it's cold here, so maybe we're not dead. It's like very simple. Like, I mean, technically, if you go with it with that logic, I guess they're not wrong, but I don't know. And then they find the temple. The temple seems to have a weird like automatic thing going on where it's very dark. And they're like, I don't know what to do from here. where do we go from here? How do we get back out from here? And then it just turned on like a bunch of lights and showed like where they're at. There's some weird snake looking pillars all over the town, like statues or whatever, which they may have viewed as the god or something like that in this area. I couldn't tell what was going on with the temple lore situation and these creatures that they kept finding that seemed to have faces on them and they took pictures with and things like that. Very interesting little bits about that. I mean, I guess the gods that this old civilization may have found and appreciated could have been whatever. So it's interesting that they set it up like it was this like creature thing potentially. I can't tell for sure if it was, or I didn't know if that was supposed to be like an actual statue of something, or if it was supposed to be like a weird city almost like traffic or facility like sign of some sort that we just don't understand. I was like, I don't know what this is, but
Ari, could you do me a favor?
What?
Could you play the witch laugh?
So what you're telling me is that this noodle creature thing is the cause of all death and destruction in all of society, and religion is to blame. This is what you're telling me. It's probably It's probably true. It's probably true. Yeah. You know, it might be the case.
You understood the assignment, Ari. Thank you.
So we'll see how that goes, but it was a interesting little chapter to do, and then we just kind of talked about what it means to have a home, and then we sat in the rain, and then we met up with the engineer lady, and we helped her out for a few days to build a plane that then just kind of broke apart because she tried building a brand new fucking plane instead of an existing one. But you know what? She tried, damn it, and now she just gets to float down to the lower stratum, and maybe she'll survive. Probably not, but I mean, you know. There's a chance. There's a chance.
No, she'll be fine.
Yeah. You know, the future, hope. Everybody in this world is ready for a bright future, right? Yeah.
Yeah, this is a Danganronpa.
I mean,
it's a really lighthearted series.
It did remind me a bit of I just got through playing through Silent Hill 1 recently, and every character that your character meets while the town is getting fucked up and is immediately like, oh, thank God you're here. We can work together for this thing. Actually, why don't you go on your own? I'm going to go do my thing. It's like, bro, shit is fucked. Don't you want to work together with this? But here,
Nope.
they here is also the same. They meet these people, and then they immediately just kind of say, all right, I'm just going to go on my own now. But I guess here it's a little different because they're like, I need to go get supplies and like take care of myself. If I'm hanging out with like other people, we're probably just gonna be fighting for supplies. I don't know you people, so with these two, I'm more used to it.
They're
yeah.
supposedly children.
Supposedly.
Like,
well,
they're supposedly children, and the two people we meet are clearly adults. So.
Well, okay, to be fair though, one of them has a gun.
That's true. That's true. She does have a gun. Can she be trusted with a gun?
Yeah, probably.
Just don't have.
That's my naivety. Speaking.
Just don't have chocolate. If you have the last chocolate, I can't. I don't know what's gonna happen. I don't know what's gonna happen. Fuse Hunter in chat has said, I found it really interesting how much basic stuff about the world they don't know. I forgot about the aspect from the anime, so now I'm curious about the situation they were in before their journey. Obviously, very little education, but also a lack of cultural stuff we take for granted. Yeah, it's very cool. It's very cool. Also, I kept seeing your chats pop up, but I think they were getting cut off because of where I have the chat on the stream. Let me lower it, and then that won't happen. Maybe if I put it like here, that should have the whole thing. And then people's messages won't get cut off. It's set to like disappear after a couple seconds anyways, so it's fine if it shows up on screen for a while. And that's specifically Twitch chat. I don't have it set up to also show YouTube chat on there yet, so if you're somebody who's typing in YouTube chat, I apologize. It will not physically show up on the stream screen, but I will read them out. Which we did have messages from Baguetti, but it was about circus clowns from Sailor Moon. So also Baguetti had said
we do a little bit clowning around.
We do Well, a little clowning around. There's no clowns yet in Girls Last Tour. Not yet. What were we gonna say, Ari?
So, Shino, I want to know how this series compares to the other one that you've read by the author. I guess, well, you can answer that now, or maybe like towards once we've read more of it, if you want.
I feel like it starts better, definitely. Shimeji Simulation, it spends like a volume or two pretending to be a school life slice of life, and then it increasingly becomes more and more like unhinged.
Yeah,
And
I remember that. Yeah.
so I felt like the
Yeah, I
school
really
life part
never
was
read
pretty
it.
boring, but I think for Girls Last Tour, even though there's not really a lot of answers, I think the setting, there's more like interesting things from the get-go.
Yeah, the setting of this is definitely like readily interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I remember. I don't remember too much from Sumeiji Simulation, other than I was very interested by it. I did remember the hole digger memes. What was it? They were part of the hole digging club at first, and then they started making more complex holes or something like that. I don't.
Yep. We're
Yeah.
digging holes and filling holes and digging holes.
See,
Girls in Holes, the movie or the book.
I can fix that.
You know
Some
exactly what I'm
made-for-me
talking about
holes.
that. It all started with my no good pick stealing great grandfather.
Hey, Sinslayer, thank you so much for the follow on Twitch. Thank you so much. Yeah. So, what else do we have for Girls Last Tour volumes 1 and 2? What other thoughts, concerns, do we have? I personally, I'm very interested with the next volumes. I'm locked in. I'm ready. I'm so interested. I will say though, the first, I think maybe 2 chapters, something about the way that the dialogue was structured with them, it was either, I don't want to say making my eyes glaze over, but making it hard for me to like lock in on what was going on yet, because, you know, like Ari was saying, we're just kind of dropped in on these two. I don't understand their situation fully and things like that. But also we're like talking about a whole bunch of random things, and I'm just like, wait, what are we talking about here? Also, it does this little slight thing sometimes where it the two are talking back and forth to each other, but sometimes it doesn't indicate who is saying what in the bubble, and I have to like sit back and think for a bit, like, wait, who just said that thing? Was that Chito or Yuri? And sometimes I notice that it's like, it's the dialogue bubble above one of them, but there's no arrow pointed directly at that person, which means that it's the other person and things like that. That's happened a couple times, not too often, but I noticed it enough for me to be like, wait, who just said that? Cronus just said, I just watched a retrospective video on holes yesterday. Oh boy, holes. Man, there's a lot going on with the facilities with the Girls Last Tour. I keep almost accidentally saying Girls in Panzer when I start saying Girls Last Tour, and I keep correcting myself in my head. And I'm like, it's very different series.
There's only 2 types of
One day
girls.
you'll learn.
Only 2 girls, the Last Tours and the Unpanzers.
Which are surprisingly similar.
There's only
Yeah,
2 genders.
Both drive tanks, so yeah. Motor tanks, I guess. It is what did it say? It's like a half-track German World War II half-track motorcycle. The Kettenkrad. Very real. Very, very, very cool looking. I like that they chose to have him drive that. And then Yuri's has a gun. Did they say what type of gun that's supposed to be yet? Because I feel like that detail would definitely be a thing that they would try to talk about, but I don't remember if they have. I do know that they did mention Chito sucks at shooting, and Chito, because Chito would rather focus on books and stuff like that, so Chito has no interest in guns themselves, but that's why they got Yuri. They got Yuri to do that kind of stuff, even though she'll just sometimes just forget to be doing something, like that when they do the laundry, and Chito's just like, why aren't you doing anything? He's like, what do you mean? I got the water. He's like, yeah, now help me fucking clean our clothes. What do you mean? You can't just do that and just call it a day. You gotta help me out. And then they find the fish. And then I think what was the one with that chapter? That chapter was we've cleaned the dirt off of our clothes, which is very similar to the fact that we've cleaned the meat off of the bones of the fish. I'm like, well, it's kind of fucking dark, but I guess I
see it.
It's kind of fucking. I mean, but then again, they keep mentioning about the afterlife and heaven. They're like saying like, you know, the whole speech about like whether or not they're in the afterlife because of all the snow or whatever, and then later on that's contrasted with like them finding hot water and having a bath and saying like, I'm in heaven. What's heaven mean? That's the afterlife. That's kind of morbid. They just bring that line back with it. The punchlines, you know, the punchlines. They're interesting. Yeah. What else do we got here? What else do we got? What are we hoping for? What are we hoping for? Do we want more encounters? I feel like the encounters with other people are like some of my favorite chapters. But they also obviously aren't like sticking with them for very long because they have their own stuff that they got to do. I mean, they do stick with them whenever they encounter somebody. It's like a 3-chapter ordeal with them, at least. So they stick around for a bit in the volume, but overall they all got to move on, and the 2 girls end up by themselves in the end. I don't know if that'll continue happening, but I think it'd be interesting to see other characters interact with them. I want them to, and they probably will, keep climbing up the stratums to see the different. I want to see the different layers of societies over time, and the different like architectures that they've come up with, and the different ways technology has advanced over time as they climb up it. It'll be very interesting to see the differences if that is where this is going. I'd be very interested in that. Yeah. Their final tour. Why is it their final tour? Are they gonna die? What does it mean?
It's their last tour.
Their last tour? No more concerts
Because
for
there's
that?
no food, Chap. Did you not get it?
Well, listen. I mean, I could start a tour right now with plenty of food. Eventually, if
The
I go on
world where
eventually,
everything nowadays has sequels and franchise.
I'm just saying, if I go on a tour long enough, eventually it'll be the last tour, right? If I go on it for long enough, but yeah.
No, I believe in you. You could do it forever.
I was thinking the other day when I was in the movies, and there's another trailer for Mission Impossible, the final Mission Impossible, and I'm like, yeah, they've been saying that for like 10 fucking movies. I don't know. I don't know if it's the last one. I don't know.
Impossible are these missions? They seem pretty possible to me.
What was the Gintama movie? Gintama, the very final movie, because they had like
Yes.
several final movies.
You know, I don't think these missions were all that impossible.
You know, when I go to the movies and my uncle and I, when we see the trailers, my uncle is just like, when is he just gonna say, "I don't accept the mission anymore"? Is that gonna be how the series ends? I just don't accept it
that'd be weird.
because they say this mission, if you
It's just
choose
like
to
a
accept it,
3-minute short film they upload to YouTube.
yeah, you know what? I don't accept the mission. Bye. It just leaves. It's like, okay, well,
That's gotta be a blooper somewhere.
thank you, Tom Cruise.
ACAP includes Tom Cruise.
Fuse Hunter saying, just girls hanging out in the apocalypse. If I can get an exploitable panel every vol, I'm good. And then Chrono said, more one night, more one nigh. I don't.
That's the reference to the opening.
Oh,
of
the anime. Okay, all right. I'm trying to remember if I.
The song is called More One Night.
Because I think ages ago I watched the first episode of the anime. I don't remember if I heard the opening. Maybe I did, but I just don't remember it. I don't.
I can't remember if they don't use it in the episode or if they use it as the ending.
They might. Either way, it was a while ago, so I wouldn't remember it anyways. But I'm sure once I listen to it, I'll be like, oh, I've probably heard this from AMQ. Because this is almost always how it goes. Anime music quiz. Wow. It's an Amazon exclusive. One More Night is the ED. Oh, okay. I see. Or More One Night. I read the title.
Oh, yes, it was.
It's Amazon exclusive. Just like Main Abyss was. See, it's all connected. Well, I don't think it's an Amazon exclusive anymore, but I think when Main Abyss was first licensed, I think that was a part of the Amazon strike package at the time, because I remember Inuyashiki was also a part of it. Wow, so many connections here on their last tour with the girls.
It's all connected.
And the Unpanzers. And the Strike Witches. And the simulations, Shimeji even. Mushrooms. And holes. Am I right?
And Columbo, can't forget that part.
Yeah, of course, Columbo's.
Villain.
How are we feeling about Chito and Yuri themselves? Like, them as characters and their relationship with each other. Are we annoyed by, is anybody here annoyed by Yuri's antics? I know Ari is annoyed by Yuri's questions, but yeah. I think they're both cute together. I think they're both cute. I like Chito contrasting with Yuri in like their personalities. I like their dynamic with Chito being the level-headed person and Yuri being like, yeah, but what if we did this for fun? Have you ever heard of fun? Also, I have a gun.
Have fun, Shep.
Let's just go into this hole. It's just fun times. They get lost inside of a facility for like a week and almost starve to death. It was your idea, right, Chito?
Who doesn't love going camping?
Oh God, I don't like going camping. I don't like Yuri camp because I don't like camping. I don't know, but I understand why people. I understand why people enjoy the series, but I'm not a big fan of it myself. But that's me. That's just how it goes. Okay. Well, do I have anything else to say? Any other thoughts? Actually, I should probably say, did anybody actually want to answer that question? Because I couldn't tell if anybody did. About Chito and Yuri's relationship or the characters themselves. Anybody have anything they want to say about that? Or are we...
I feel like for me, I really like the parts where they're alone. So, not that the like Ishii and the other guy,
okay,
like men's names, how to remember them.
Kanazawa.
I like that. I feel like I definitely
yeah.
like the parts where they were alone and stuff more. Like, especially when they're tied together, because I guess they've had multiple scenes where they're like tied together with some sort of rope. It really makes the world feel really big, and kind of like if they really got separated at that moment, they'll probably never find each other again.
Oh yeah, that is a good point. Yeah, they stay close because they're usually sitting around in the Kettenkrad. Yuri's even like making snowmen on top of Chito and stuff like that. That's how much they're just chilling on this thing all the time. They have just that much time together on the thing. So yeah, if they ever did get separated by some events, like if one of them ends up falling down a stratum or whatever and somehow surviving it, it's like, well, I guess we're just gone for the rest of our lives. It's like, oh fuck. It
feels very reminiscent of like early indie games. When you started getting into like the Xbox Live arcade stuff, where you had like Limbo inside. I think Braid was the early one. Yeah, but just that feeling of like tiny child in a very dark world.
Yeah.
You know, it kind of reminds me of Pikmin, actually.
It always comes back to Pikmin. How does that always happen?
I don't know. Look, it's a good game, I would tell you.
Maybe one day I'll actually play Pikmin. I don't know if I've ever experienced Pikmin, other than the drowning meme you've sent me.
It's a wonderful game, okay?
Okay.
Although you will be damaged by it. It's very depressing.
I hear I'll also be damaged by the ending of Girls' Last Tour. I had another streamer.
Really?
You're saying like it's a good...
You know, I mean, I've
now I'm more interested.
I heard from
yeah.
I've heard from a good friend of the stream, Digishell, that when she read Girls' Last Tour, it like made her. I think she said it was one of the first manga series that made her cry towards the ending of reading it, emotionally.
I cry at like anything. So
yeah, no, yeah. There are a few different things that happen in this that I could see.
Yeah, I was not
made me tear up.
I was not spoiled on anything that happens, only that it gets very emotional at the ending, for whatever reason. So I am very excited for what will potentially happen to these girls on their final tour.
I mean, I've been making jokes about this the whole time. It's a very bleak series.
Which it like doesn't make that a secret, but it also kind of distracts you from it with the girls' antics.
Sneaks up on you. It still sneaks up on you.
You know, like they'll literally be telling you, the reader, we are running out of food. We're probably gonna fucking die. But also we look very moe right now, or cute, and we're just kind of fucking around with the little rations that we have. Maybe we'll have soup tonight to celebrate and things like that.
I will also add on and point out that both Kanazawa and Ishii completely failed at their purpose in life.
Yep. The map maker's maps all disappeared, but I think he was just like, I'll just go make more maps. And Ishii was just like, you know what, my plane fucked up, but I'm going down the lower stratum. I'll figure something else out. Maybe I'll build another plane in the future. I don't know. But
yeah, it's adding on to that thing of like, the tone isn't betraying that, but like the actual events that are occurring are almost ridiculously bleak.
Right. Cronus in chat said, it's weird how many Amazon exclusive anime are moe blobs in a post-apocalyptic setting. You know what? Yeah. Made in Abyss, Girls Last Tour, Inuyashiki. It's basically more. No, it's not. But no.
You wish.
No, Inuyashiki is good. Okay, it's based. Okay, one day it'll win book club. It'll be an interesting read. Don't worry. But yeah, it's man, so many of the details with Girls Last Tour. So many of these little things. It adds up a lot. It gets me interested. Again, very easy read. At this point, I'm already hooked in on it. I do already have the first volume physically, and now I kind of want to buy all of them physically. I bought them all digitally for the reading of it, but I might also just buy them all physically like I did for Pluto as well.
This is one of a small handful of manga that I have actually collected the physical editions for.
Yeah. There wasn't many series that I actually own the complete set of until we started doing book club. And now I have several that are full sets. I had the full set of New Game before, and I also had the full set of Flowers of Evil before, because that's another one of my favorites, and Inuyashiki. But book club has influenced me to buy all of Land of the Lustrous, an amazing series. I have all of Fire Punch. I have all of Pluto. And I guess I'll probably be getting all of Girls Last Tour at some point.
Speaking of Land Illustrious, did you know that we're watching it in the Discord every Tuesday?
That's true. That's
actually just next Tuesday.
That's true. That's the latest one that we started. We finished up watching all of the New Game anime in the server, and now we have started Land of the Lustrous anime. We watched the first 6 episodes earlier this week, and we're going to be watching the last 6 episodes next Tuesday. And around the same time that we've been doing it, which is around like Tuesday at 8 o'clock time. If you're somebody who's interested in that, join discord.wolfborg.com. And if you want to be interested in joining in the book club discussions and other memes, that's where we do all that too. We've been reading through the series and then adding them onto a list to watch the anime versions of them. And so we're currently doing Land of the Lustrous. We still have to do Dorohedoro, Familiar of Zero. Eventually we got to get towards Sailor Moon. We're not putting it on the list to pick yet because it's a long series.
Summertime rendering,
because we're cowards.
Well, we will. It's just it's long to do right now. Okay, we have all these others that take us like It takes us like 2 weeks to do all of these others. Sailor Moon is gonna be like what if we watch the whole thing, 200 fucking episodes or whatever. Listen.
Look, if you just believed in yourself like Usagi would want you to.
True. And I mean, Girls Last Tour is also like 12 episodes, so that'll also be a quick watch.
I like to mention, I did the math on it. It's going to take us like 233 days total.
233 days for what?
We're getting through Sailor Moon at a weekly basis, 6 a week.
Oh, if we do it at 6 a week, yeah,
it's gonna be like a significant. It's gonna be like
it's way longer than Umineko.
That's like one of those series where I would probably keep it off the list for us to watch until we've gone through all of our current backlog, and then we probably do something different with how we handle the Sailor Moon watch. Like if we wanted to watch the full thing, maybe we do like 2 days a week of like 6 episodes just to blast through it. One is on the Tuesday and another's on like a Saturday or Sunday or something like that. We kind of blast through that a little bit more, but I don't know. But I know at the very least we'll probably watch at least the first season of the Sailor Moon anime, which I think is only much shorter in scope of everything else at least. But at least if we stick towards at least the first season of that, and then we can just handle the other seasons at some point in the future, maybe. Once we're caught up with our other series, because every series that we
like take breaks in between.
Yeah, every series that we watch, if it's only like a 12 episode anime, that takes us like 2 weeks to watch, So if we get caught up on them and we don't have any more to watch in the meantime while we read other stuff, we could just go back to Sailor Moon, I guess. One of those kind of deals we could do. There's a lot of different things we could do, but yeah, we're getting through them, and we'll see how that goes. So that's the plan with that. Cronus in chat, would you watch the OG Sailor Moon or Sailor Moon Crystal? I don't know what the difference is with the animes. Maybe Galaxy can explain it.
Yeah, the original Sailor Moon was it's a very heavily expanded upon version of the manga storylines for the most part.
Okay.
With heavy divergences in the last season. And Sailor Moon Crystal was an attempt to more faithfully animate the manga storyline.
Okay. I mean, I'd have to look into lengths and all that. I want to say, though, for like the book club related watch, we'd probably at least start with the first season of the OG, because that's what everybody else in the world started with pretty much. So we'll probably start with that for our comparison of that with the manga, and then maybe in the future get it and try out Crystal, or something like that. We'll decide that kind of stuff more, but most likely when we go to do that one, we'll probably start with the first season of the OG to answer your question, Cronus. Then the question is, do we check out what they did with the dub, or if we do the original? Because I know the dub memes, but
original.
Yeah. Redub also exists for the original. Oh, there was a redub.
The redub, yeah. There was a redub, and it's really good.
Oh, okay. Well, then we might check out that potentially. I don't know for sure. We'll figure out what we want to do for that. But yeah. So a lot of stuff in the works here with the book club memes. So again, if you're somebody who's listening and are interested in getting involved, whether you want to be on the stream or not, the Discord's there for you guys to just come chill out, grab yourself the book club roll, and you just hang out there. And we have a channel that I really love that we dedicate just towards putting fan art that we find related to a series that we've read, which these days is mostly filled with Umineko art, because that's what is always being constantly made. So we have a ton of that. But there's also Land of the Luster Star that gets made and posted in there, which is very nice. So, any final?
I'll just start spamming Sailor Moon art.
That's true. We did have a few get posted in there for a bit. Some of which I've contributed. I contributed one Sailor Moon art. I've contributed a Beatrice art that I did recently. Well, a sketch of it. Eventually, I'll go back and finish it. So we got some stuff getting posted there.
All the way down. I'm looking at it right now.
It's true. It's all Umineko. It always has been. As we all know, once you read Umineko once, that's all you can fucking talk about. Okay, it's worse.
You can only open the cat box once.
It's worse than the JoJo fans. Okay. It's worse than the JoJo fans in a way because
Umineko's good.
Well, Umineko's good, but it's also more niche in a way than JoJo. So I don't, so
yeah, it's actually good.
I mean, yeah, that's true. Anyways, any final thoughts we have about the first 2 volumes of Girls Last Tour before we wrap up for the week? Anything that we want to finally say, express, or say our hopes for the future? What are we saying? Anything? Anybody? Shadow, you got anything?
No.
All right.
Why
I'm going through everybody. Okay. Ari, you got anything?
No.
Okay. Galaxy, you got anything?
I hope everyone looks forward to seeing what else is on the camera.
Okay. Yeah, because
like things that was already there beforehand.
I was wondering why they didn't look at the photos that were already on this thing.
No.
They did also mention like a number that keeps moving as they use it. I didn't know if that was, I don't understand how cameras work though. I didn't know if that was supposed to be just like an aperture focus setting or whatever, because it seemed like a crazy number, but I wasn't sure. Because it could also just be future camera memes. So.
Yeah, future camera.
Well, you should be finding out in next week's reading.
Oh boy, I'm excited. I'm excited. Find out next time on Dragon Ball Z. Shino, you got anything you want to say before we wrap up for the week?
Nope.
All right. Well, thank you so much, everybody, for stopping by for the discussion. As usual, if you are somebody who is interested in listening to these talks every week, whether live or on YouTube, you can check out the links to all these things at wolfborg.com, or you could just go directly to twitch.wolfborg.com or youtube.wolfborg.com or kick.wolfborg.com. And we host the streams every week on Thursday nights at 9 o'clock Eastern time. So if you want to tune in for those live, you can. Otherwise, the VOD will always live on YouTube. Technically, the VOD also lives on Twitch, but it eventually gets deleted through Twitch. But the VOD will always live on YouTube, so that's there. And again, if you're interested in joining in on the festivities or the watch parties that we do related to the works that we've read, join discord.wolfborg.com, grab yourself the book club roll, and then you can hang out with us in those channels. Thank you so much, everybody. We appreciate you all, and thank you so much to the guests that we have this week. Let's see who we can raid. Let's see who is alive, who is here, who is doing things today. We got, let's go say hi to, let's go say hi to Bodega Rats. They're doing a 24-hour anniversary, new outfit, 4 more years special event thing. Are they playing Nier? Oh my god, they're playing Nier Automata. Hell yeah, let's go check them out. Thank you so much, everybody, for coming to hang out. I appreciate you all. Stay safe, gamers. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye. Goodbye.